make another
Sure.
NetHack video?
Yeah, go for it.
Play more NetHack. So let's recap from last time. We started NetHack. I'm playing on nethack.alt.org through Putty, telnetting in. You are Jeremy, a lifelong NetHack player, and I'm Wes. I have played NetHack once.
One time. Your first time was good.
One time. I got killed by 4 red dragons.
Getting killed by red dragons in your first game is awesome, man. Doesn't happen very often.
That it felt pretty cool, honestly. I'm not even sad that happened, because I feel like the next 10 playthroughs I'm just destined to die in really lame ways in comparison now.
I would say it would take most players many games of NetHack to ever even see a red dragon.
Yeah, that's cool. So the first time we kind of just jumped into it. We didn't do any kind of options customization. We just got into the game, learned some very, very basic look commands and movement, that kind of thing. So do you think the second time around I should mess with the options file, or do you think we should just do another run through?
Why don't I? Do you want to? I think maybe we do one more just without anything, and then it might be best to just like handle the options file, before we even start playing and do it that way. That might be kind of boring. But actually, I'm impressed because I haven't played. I've only played 3.6.0 a little bit, and I just applied. I moved over my options file from 3.4.3, and just went from there. And I'm actually impressed to see how many of like that. Actually, what you were looking at was a pretty good base situation to be in without having set any options. So it's not as bad as it used to be.
So tell me some of the things just as I'm creating a new
So
character, like
even
what would it do to modify it?
even the fact that like your pet was highlighted so that you could tell that it was your pet, like it had an inverse thing, things like that. Just little things. The fact that the enemies were kind of a different color in some cases. The red dragons were actually red. Um,
Yeah.
Quite a few of those things would not have been the case with default options in some of the earlier versions of the game.
Now,
It also depends. I don't know how much of that is nethack.alt.org presetting options that it thinks you should have also, so I'm not sure.
Okay. How many years was it again between 3.4.3 and 3.6?
I think it was
It's like 12 years or something?
it was yeah, something like that to the date too. I think it was like even to the day that it came out.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, very interesting. But yeah, a very long time. I mean, it's kind of it's one of those things where the NetHack development team is like the Illuminati of gaming, where nobody really knows all that much about them, and they always say like, it's almost like, and they're such jokesters with the things that they have in the game and the things that they do. Uh, when they say something like, a new version of the game has not come out in 10 years plus, and they say like, we are actively still working on it. We've never said we're not working on it. Like, it's hard to know if that's a joke or true.
Right.
You know what I
What
mean?
does
Like,
actively working on it
yeah,
mean?
exactly. And so the fact that this new version even came out, like, it blows my mind really, and I think it blows a lot of people's minds, because even though we've constantly been told that the dev team is actually still working on the game, I don't think anybody really thought that was actually happening. And in fact, I don't know how much that actually was happening until these last few years. I think probably based on what I've seen, it looks like they recruited some new members and got kind of full force about it only more recently.
Gotcha. Now, NetHack is, I think it's interesting in comparison to Dwarf Fortress, which is a game that probably people compare it to the most, even if they're not similar games, but just they represent kind of the same thing, PC gaming. But Dwarf Fortress is very much a controlled game. It is 2 guys making Dwarf Fortress, and then there are people who do graphical mods and things that hook into the game. But Dwarf Fortress is developed by the Atoms. But I feel like NetHack, its origins are in being a mod of Hack, right? That was an organized mod team, and in the past 12 years since there's been this official update, there were still people making variations and mods and branches of NetHack, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's been tons of things. And in fact, a lot of what is in this new version is really just official recognition and incorporation of a lot of the, you know, better quality of life and things from other games or from other like forks and user modifications that people have added, and of course some of their own original ideas as well. But I actually, it's funny to say because it's been so long since the last release, but I really feel like based on what I've seen of this new version, that this is really more of a new beginning and really like even though there was such a long gap there hasn't really been that many significant changes. Usually, when they release a new version, unless it's just like a bug fix release version, there's pretty significant additions that even a fork would not necessarily think to add because it's kind of an entirely new addition. Like I think, for instance, of the addition of shops in the game, which weren't originally in obviously NetHack, which is like such a core component and a huge part of what this game is now. It's hard to even imagine what it was like before they came in. And so I'm actually more excited, now that they have new people working, and they've proven that they're kind of actively working on the game again. I'm sort of excited to what we'll see in the coming years. I think probably the next version will be much shorter in terms of the amount of time that we have to wait for it. That's just my suspicion. I have nothing really to back that up besides my kind of gut feeling of what I've seen. But it really seems like, based on what they've said in that press release when they first came out with it too, about how this was a lot of core work and getting new people up to speed on this old code base and things like that, feels like they're preparing for some more serious changes coming soon.
Cool. All right, so I just started a new game. I haven't really moved from the first room since we were talking, but are you
Yep,
observing already, or?
I am. I see your pile of gold.
Yes. All right. So I'm gonna go pick up that gold. 27
27.
gold. All right,
Not
I'm
bad.
already like almost halfway back to what I lost last time.
So let's really quick. I think it's a good idea anytime you start a new character. The first thing is just to look at your inventory. I don't know what character you
Good
picked
call.
here. Looks like, oh, you did
I
the
did
rogue
the
again.
same thing again. I did
Okay,
a human rogue.
so
So, ooh, I've got a
different
blessed short sword this time.
different classes have, yeah, so there's different roles that you can have in your initial starting set and different depending on your class. Some classes are more similar game to game than others. In this case, I think rogue is it's pretty similar with what it
Yeah.
starts out with. I think last time you also had a potion of sickness.
Mm-hmm.
um, you have a few more daggers here than last time, maybe like two
Two
more
more.
daggers or
Yeah.
something like that, but it's pretty similar. Whereas like if you play a wizard, um, there's a lot of variations that you could have. And one of the things that some high level players will do is actually like start scum and just end games and keep starting until they kind of get a role that they like of original
Mm.
items, some of those characters.
Reminds me of a few months ago we ran an article on PC Gamer from one of our guys about Eye of the Beholder 2, which was an old school
Oh, I'm
dungeon crawler.
very familiar. I
Very
recently
familiar.
played through Eye of the Beholder 1 within the last 5 years.
Well, he was making a point. That was he was like, when you roll a new character, don't feel guilty about cranking all those stats up to the max because this game is still going to be a motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and and that kind of blew my mind because it I can't even imagine anyone making a game today where you just got to start and give yourself maximum stats. And yet,
Yeah,
and that was a feature because people cared about role playing enough at the time that maybe not everybody was gonna just give themselves the maximum amount of strength. Maybe
sure.
they wanted 3 strength.
I think that was also a feature of that game, also though, because it was a sequel to a game and they wanted you to be able to make the characters that you had in the first game over again with
Mm.
a crazy amount of freedom. But yeah, that's interesting. I see your point.
Because like anybody who plays games like that today, you're just gonna go for maximum strength pretty much.
Sure. Yeah.
But maybe not in 1991. I don't remember when that came out.
Yeah. So the other command I want to tell you about real quick, that just might save you a little bit of time,
Hmm.
is instead of semicolon, you can also press the forward slash on the same key as question mark. It's the exact same thing as semicolon, except if you're looking at multiple items, you don't have to keep pressing the button. So you can try it here if you want. Just press the uh, Oh, I think you just want to press it once, and then you can kind of move your thing around.
I did press it once.
Hmm. Oh, okay. It looks like maybe there's more options. This actually looks like it might be a 3.6 edition,
Edition. Okay.
making this a little bit more user friendly. So it looks like if you press it again, it's basically what the old action used to be. Yeah, and so it lets you move and do basically what you have been doing with semicolon. I think you have to, yeah, there you go. Except your cursor won't go away after you look at something. So you could look at that gold and then,
Oh
oh,
wait, and then I hit comma on.
comma. Yeah, and then now you can go over to the X over here. So you see what I mean? Like you don't have to keep pressing the
Yes,
button. So that helps a little bit too.
that is nice.
Yeah. And then you can just press like escape or something to get out of
A
there.
Zan or other mythical / fantastic insect. Statue of a grid bug. A grid bug, huh?
It's a statue. In that
Right.
case, it's not an actual creature.
Closed door. All right. Oh, and then did that? So that look option, did that go away because I did something or because I looked at everything in the room?
No, you usually have to back out of it by pressing
Huh.
enter or escape or something. You might have pressed enter.
Maybe it was pressing enter that stopped it. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. I just got a bunch of gold.
So one other command that may be helpful to you is there is a command to just pass time and not actually take any action, which is
Mm,
just period. So if you just press the period key, you'll see your turns are increasing. Um, it's just a way to like,
got
yeah,
it.
you can see your pet moving around. You can
Yep.
wait for him to move. One of the places that's helpful is if you go over to that staircase there to the next level
Hmm.
and go ahead and just go peek down. You move down staircases by pressing the same key that the staircase is. So in this case, greater than
So
once you're on
stepping
top of it.
onto it will peek down.
Stepping onto it will do nothing, but to interact with it and actually go down, you press the greater than symbol.
Oh, so
Yeah.
when I'm on it, or can I do it from here?
No, you have to be on it. Yeah.
And
So
greater
go ahead and
than.
go down. You'll notice here your pet is not next to you. If you'll notice that before you actually press enter. So you'll
Hmm.
see here your pet is not there, right?
Mm.
Go back up the stairs now using
Oh.
the less than.
You're a good teacher. You knew exactly how that was going to work,
Yeah,
and
and
so you told
so
me to wait. Oh shit! There's a jackal. Did not see that.
yeah, maybe take care of him first.
Did that come out of the statue? Like what?
I don't think so. I think it just came out of one of those paths there.
Man,
All right, so now
these kittens are fierce.
they are,
Seriously.
man. They're actually really good. So now that your cat is right next to you, if you go back on that
Wait,
on
can I
that
pick up
staircase,
this statue?
I think you can. It might be heavy. That's okay.
I don't. Did I pick it up? I did
Yeah,
pick it
you
up.
did.
How can I look at it and be able to tell that it's heavy?
There's really no like indication of how like there's no like weight value next to anything.
Hmm.
If you're carrying a ton of stuff and you're really overloaded, you'll have kind of a status effect that'll say
Like
you're burdened.
encumbered or something.
Yeah, and it's a very, very bad state to be in because every action takes more time. You're more clumsy. It can get you killed. So you usually do not want to be in that. So now that you're on here, just go ahead and press
Where
the
did my
period.
kitten go?
Yeah, go ahead and press the period key until he comes around. Hopefully he'll come around here. You might have to go find him. Your pets are generally more likely to walk toward you if they're kind of like in your eye line. Um,
Did he wander off?
he probably did. Yeah, there he is.
There he
Okay,
is.
so if you kind of wander back, he should be more likely to follow you. What I like to do is kind of like stay in their eye line. Yeah, there you go.
There
Okay,
he
so
is.
now that you're next to him, go ahead and go down again. So you'll notice as long as you're adjacent to your pet in some way, they will follow you down the stairs. So you'll see him
Sweet.
here now. So that's how you basically travel with your pet along. And that's like one of those things where like if nobody tells you that, you could play 100 games of NetHack and never even know that you can like why you're you know what I mean? Like you could never even know like, oh, I guess my pet is only for the first level.
Mm. I think I'd figure that out. I
Yeah, it's
think.
just one of those things. Like there's a million things like that where you might just accept that as the way it is, and um, there's a ton of things like that in the game, which is why. Oh, so here's an example where you have entered a room that has no staircase. So
Hmm.
uh, there is definitely a staircase here. It's impossible to create an unsolvable level. So um,
Well, including just going back up. That could be the only way out, right?
No, that's not true because there's only one upstairs and one downstairs in a level, except in the case where there's multiple branches. There are actually different branches of the dungeon, which is kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Um, but in this case, like this is the only entrance to this level, if that makes sense.
Oh, to this floor.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And so the other key that I haven't told you about yet that's very similar to period is S, which is just search. It
Search.
basically is exactly the same as period. And in fact, I don't even use period. For the most part, I just press S because it's
Just
basically the
search.
same,
Yeah.
except that it is also searching all of the adjacent squares around you to see if there's anything there. Um, Sometimes it can take multiple searches to find something. So what I
Wow.
would do is just kind of go around the perimeter of this room, especially on the kind of right and down side maybe, because those are probably the most likely to have exits simply because this room is in
Proximity.
the yeah, exactly. So there
Ooh,
you go. You found it. Um,
nice. This is
yeah.
exciting.
So that's basically how that works.
My first hidden door. It was probably a hidden door in the last game that I just
Yeah, a lot of times
didn't
like
find.
levels will be generated with hidden doors that don't really do much for you also, so it's not always worth trying to just look for them just for the sake of looking for them. That's why I say, just go until you can't really go anymore. Or there are times when like for instance, you'll enter a level and you'll find the upstairs immediately and, obviously there's probably more than like that the first room or two that you found, and so you can probably search around to see if there's more to the level. So one of the things you'll want to pay attention to in this second level is just as you walk around, just pay attention to the messages that you're seeing up in the top left, because sometimes what will happen in NetHack is you will just your character will just observe something, and it
Hmm.
might be like a sound or a smell or whatever, and it will just give you some message, and it could potentially tell you a lot about the level that you're on. Like you might hear, you know, an NPC doing something somewhere else in the level, and then oh, there's that kind of NPC, like maybe a shop or something like that. Or I think if there's a fountain on the level, you can hear bubbling water sometimes, things like that.
So I got some banded mail.
Banded mail. That seems pretty good. Uh,
Hmm. Does it
so
look like I can wear it though?
let's take a look at your inventory. The reason why you can't wear it is probably because you already have armor on that slot.
Ah.
So if you go ahead and go to your inventory real quick, you'll see, yeah, you have a leather armor being worn,
Hmm.
which is probably the banded mail is probably better than that, but also
Yeah, I think
probably
so.
heavier. So right now, you'll see in your HUD you have armor class AC 7. Do you
Is
see
that
that?
yeah, AC,
So
is that agility?
it's
Something
armor
like
class.
agility? Armor class. Oh, okay.
This is another one of the many other confusing things about this game. This game is following an old D&D rule set where less armor class is better.
Right. It kind
So
of makes sense. Class 1 is the
yeah,
best.
well, it actually goes into negatives even.
Yo. Okay.
Um, Basically, armor class 10 is no defense at all. So right now you basically have 3 points of defense. So go ahead and take off your armor. You
How
can
do
do that in
I do
a variety
that?
of ways. Again, there's like different keys depending on whatever, but I would say the only key you really need to know is capital A. Can do basically everything. It will tell you what types do you want to take off, and you can select anything. So yeah, you can do armor, and then select that armor, and it'll take it off.
I have to say, as much as this is kind of a an old school menu system with lots of kind of weird ways to pull up various menus, still so much easier than Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah.
So much easier.
You know what's insane too is that, and I'll show you another command after you do this, but
I finished my dressing
okay,
maneuver.
so now you can look back at your armor class and you'll see you actually gain basically 2 points of defense.
Nice.
So that was a good move. So here's one of the interesting things is let's take a look real quick at your inventory at your lockpick. So your lockpick starts at E.
Hmm.
And if you play a rogue, there's a good chance. I don't know what all the item rolls are as a rogue, but there's a good chance that every time you start as a rogue, your lockpick is going to be generated on the key E, just because
Hmm.
of how these items are rolled.
Right.
So you might actually get used to that. Like you might play a bunch of rogue characters, and then you might end up getting used to every time I run into a locked door, I use my E key to apply an E, and then I unlock the door with it. One of the things is you can if you back out of here, Other than the commands, because this is funny, there's not enough keys on the keyboard to house all the commands for NetHack. So there's actually a way to enter extended commands, which start with a pound key. So if you press the pound key and you type in adjust,
Like so.
yep, that will let you basically choose any item that you want. So let's say, like, if you press question mark here and look at your items, let's see what you got.
Oh, I hit. There we go.
So let's say like you want to move your knife on G, press G, and you want to move that to the capital G key. You can put capital G there. And now if you look at your inventory again, all it does is it changes the like activation key for that item. So this is a really important thing when you're playing NetHack a lot, because if you get used to having lockpick on E, you can just adjust it to E whenever it isn't. Like if you're playing
Right.
another class that doesn't have it and you get one, you can adjust it to that, which is super important because after you play this game for a long enough time, you're not even thinking about the buttons that you're pressing because you go so fast. And so like it becomes so routine to press the same keys. And so that's one really important thing about kind of like power playing NetHack is you just get used to where things are and that you always kind of have a layout for how you have
Interesting.
your items. Yeah.
Has anyone modded in like an automated script for that so that you can set like whenever I pick up a lockpick, I want it to auto adjust to be
Not
E?
not that I know of, but it's a quick enough and like unoffensive enough thing that it doesn't really bother me having to do it every game. You only have to do it a few times usually.
So much of
Times.
modding on in PC gaming is not, you know, because it is necessary,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
because it can be done. All right, here's a scroll. I'm gonna pick
Goaty.
this up. I don't know if I want to read Goaty at the moment.
That might be a good idea. So Goaty is a here. That's a random 3.6 observation. Uh, Goaty is a very interesting glyph for me to see on a scroll.
Oh, really?
That was never a scroll prior to 3.6. Just a
Okay.
weird thing.
So we got our staircase here.
So I always recommend just peeking down, even if you're going to come back up here. Every
Oh,
time
I
you run
see what
into
you
a
mean.
staircase, the reason why is this is another bit of like meta knowledge about the game. So go ahead and peek down and just see what's there. You might just see something interesting in this room. Um,
Is that a bat?
that's a bat. You can kill it if you want. But the most important thing is when you first enter a level, it is generated at that point for the first time.
Ah, so it really didn't exist
It didn't exist
until
prior to you
now.
going there, and it's generated. And one of the things that you may or may so here's an interesting thing. You hear the chime of a cash register. This is what I was talking about, where you've just observed something, and now
Mhm.
you know on level 3 somewhere there is actually a shop here.
Why would I hear that when I killed the bat?
It's just random. You happen to
Okay.
hear it at the same time you
Okay.
killed the bat. You
Okay.
could just hear it as you're walking around, but
Because it definitely seemed like those two things were connected.
yeah, no, not in this case. Um, but so anyway, as I was saying, you'll find that enemies get harder in general as you go along in the dungeon. Harder enemies are generated. Enemy generation is based on actually both types of level, what dungeon level you're on, and also what your character level is. And so one of the benefits of peeking down into every new level that you find is you're more likely to be a lower character level when you first find a staircase than when you're done with that floor.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you generate some easier enemies on the floor for the first time, and then when you go back there, they'll still be around in that way.
And I take it if you're feeling bold, maybe there's benefit to doing it the other way around, like waiting and having harder stuff show
Potentially, I
up.
guess, but I mean, there's so many levels
Mm,
that you can go down, so that's never really going to be an issue. I
gotcha.
don't think you'll ever be in a position where you necessarily want harder enemies.
Gotcha.
Um, that said, so you can never, well, you
Hold on a
can.
second. Where the oh, never mind. I thought the
You
stairs were in this room for some reason.
you can do this, but it's an edge case that you don't really need to worry about. But for all intents and purposes, you can't necessarily clear out a level. So even if you kill all the enemies on a level, enemies will still continue to spawn randomly
Ah,
every once in a while. But the initial set is, you can kind of get a
ooh,
lower roll if you happen to roll them
door
quickly.
opened. Where did it open?
I
This
don't know,
door
but
is
that's
locked.
one thing that you can tell from that message is that there is some sort of like sentient or like, or I guess like humanoid, some kind of enemy that's not like a dog or something like that, because they wouldn't be able to open doors. Only certain types of enemies can.
Mm.
So it doesn't tell
Okay,
you a
so
whole lot, but a little bit.
I want to try to pick this lock. So
Okay.
how do I
So
use my lockpick?
the way to use any kind of tool is with apply, which is A. So if you apply, and then you
Do
can press
E.
question mark to see. Oh, I guess you already knew what it was.
Yeah, it was on E.
Okay,
We spent like you
that's
spent
right.
like 5 minutes talking about it. Yeah.
There you go.
Stop resisting me, door. What does that mean? Is it just like no? I don't want to. I don't
It's
want to
just
move.
like you fumbling with the door. I mean, if you can imagine like a horror movie when something's chasing you and you're trying to get through the door. I
I feel
literally
like
think that way because it can literally get you killed if there's something chasing you.
not a very good explorer if I'm just standing there, nothing happening, and I can't open. Oh, interesting. I can push boulders.
You can indeed. And in fact, are you familiar with the game of Sokoban?
Yeah, the name sounds familiar. Uh oh.
Have you, have you ever played like, did you ever play that old Windows game, Chips Challenge?
Ah, I'm really familiar with it, and I'm trying to remember if Chip's Challenge is the one that I've played. Is it boulders falling on your head, um, like
It,
puzzle
it's
thing, or
it's kind of like a puzzle block pushing game. Like you push blocks around into moats and things like that, so you can cross and get items. Anyway, it's based on like kind of an older game called Sokoban, and NetHack actually has a part of the dungeon that is a Sokoban level where you literally solve block pushing puzzles. And it's actually one of the best early game destinations once you kind of are feeling comfortable enough with the game to actually have a strategy
hmm.
to try to go for Sokoban early because it's got some useful items there that you can get.
Well, currently my strategy is do not mess with the monster behind the boulder. Oh, what's that?
A grid bug. This is a reference to Tron.
Really?
There's like one scene in the original Tron where they say something about grid bugs, and so there you go. You have a grid bug. It's like the
When that
most basic
reference
enemy in
was
NetHack.
written, it was probably contemporary.
Yeah,
It wasn't like, hey, remember Tron?
yeah.
It was Tron, yeah.
Most things in NetHack are like that.
A potion. I'll take that. It's sky blue. Now, it could be cursed, right? And I wouldn't know it because it's not identified.
Exactly. Yeah. If it
Mm,
doesn't say uncursed or cursed or blessed, then that just means you don't know what it is yet.
gotcha. Well, I
Um,
will refrain from drinking that until maybe I need it.
yeah, and there are many, many ways to figure that out.
So this is a stairway up, right?
That's actually down.
That's down. Oh, that's
You
right, because the other one was up before.
Yeah, you can think about it as like moving from, left to right, like reading. So anything pointing to the right is kind of like going forward, going down.
Ooh, gnome. Yikes.
So this is interesting
Ooh,
here.
that's two gnomes.
You're gonna realize probably already that the dungeon is much different. It's the level layout is much, much different
Yeah.
here. You've actually entered into a separate branch of the main dungeon. And in fact, if you do that overview command that I was telling you about, that the game gave you at the end, it's pound overview. You will see that on level 4, or
Ooh.
sorry, at level 3, you came across the stairs to the Gnomish Mines, which is a completely separate branch of the dungeon.
Now,
Uh,
it wouldn't have told me that until I went through them, right? Or would it?
no, I think you had. I'm not sure. This is a new feature, this overview thing to 3.6. So I don't know
Okay.
when that becomes available, but I think you have to have interacted with the staircase.
It
It's
would make
possible.
sense, yeah.
Yeah, it might just be that you only have to see it. If you get vision of it, then it's there. I'm
Hmm.
not sure. I
All
have to
right,
test
well,
test
let's
that
see if
out.
I can take out these gnomes. No, that's not good. Oh, okay, took that one out. Oh, gnome lord. I don't
That's
think it
why.
said. I don't think
That's
it
why
said
he's a
he was a.
different color.
I don't think it said he was a lord when I clicked on. Oh, I guess it did. All right. All right. He did 3 damage. Wait, what's next to me? Oh, that must be something the other gnome dropped. Come on, Gnome Lord. Get some.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow. He just hit me for 8.
So you might just
Holy
want to
crap.
escape at this point and just
Um,
leave the. I think it's you're
oh,
still on the staircase,
my
so
kitten is next to me. That's good.
yeah. So he'll escape with you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Are you not on the stairs anymore?
I might be one off it. It might be where that parentheses is.
Uh-oh. That's a dangerous position to be in. Um,
Now, I do have. Oh, a potion of sickness. That's not going to help me, is it?
I'm not sure if anything that you have in your inventory is necessarily going to do a whole lot for you unless you have a really good spell or a potion. One of the things you could try doing here is literally just praying for your life because you're at 1 hit point. There's an extended command called pray, and you can try that and see what happens. At this point, it's honestly what I would do because I don't think anything else is going to get you out of this situation.
What about the scroll?
Maybe. I mean, just don't know. It could be so many different things. Um,
What is praying going to do for me?
let's see. It might do nothing, but it might be really good.
Weapon. So, yeah, where are the stairs? I thought I was on them.
If you move in any direction, you'll probably get killed. You could
Right.
try retreating, but since these guys could like throw something at you or anything could happen.
Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the map here. Oh yeah, comma. So the bow there, my cat. Where are the stairs?
I think they might be under the bow, which is why
Hmm.
you can't see them.
Okay, I thought maybe it would say multiple. It would tell me everything that was
Yeah,
there.
well, I think the reason that it's highlighted in that way, it's like a red color
It's yellow on my
or
screen.
something like that. I believe the reason it's highlighted in that way is because there's stairs under it.
So this is how I pray.
Yep. Let's see what happens.
Oh, wow.
So your deity healed you
Wow,
because you were
okay.
in a very dire situation. So pray is an extremely useful command that could potentially get you out of situations that are extremely dire, or maybe not. I mean, it all depends. Um, but it's usually kind of a last resort move,
Yeah.
and you can't really depend on it, especially because it's very easy to anger your god if
Mm.
you're a baby and you pray for everything.
If only real life was exactly the same way.
So at this point, you could continue trying to kill that gnome lord. He did kind of a lot of damage to you. You
He
might
did.
want to take the opportunity to just try to get out of here. So if you move over to where your cat is,
Yeah.
I think that's where the staircase is. Yeah. So you can just take off now.
Oh, so he only hit me for 4 that time. Did he crit before? Is critting a thing?
It is, yeah, it's possible. I don't know. But he definitely seems too tough for you right now since you haven't leveled up at all. It might be a good idea to save the gnomish mines for later. It's totally a viable strategy to go in there. You can totally do that, but I think probably exploring the main branch for now is a good idea. One of the things is the gnomish mines is filled with lots of gnomes, as you saw, and dwarves. So if you play a class that has one of those races and you play as one of those races, it's actually much safer, right? Because
Ah.
you'll run into a lot of friendlies instead of enemies.
Are gnomes and dwarves friends, or specifically just
I
one or the
believe I
other?
believe so. Yeah, so some of them. Um, I think if you play as a gnome or a dwarf, a lot of those different types of enemies have possibilities to be friendly.
My magical energy has drained away.
So it looks like you stepped on a trap. If you look at that thing,
Oh,
it was not visible before you stepped on it, simply because
anti-magic field.
well, you're not really a magical class. So
Yeah.
you down in your or in your HUD there, you'll see PW, zero
Mm,
out of two.
magic power.
It's
Got it.
basically just magic points.
A large box.
I wouldn't lift the large box, but you can look in the large box. The command is loot or L.
Could I like throw my back out or something trying to lift the box?
Well, actually, try to pick it up. You can see what happens.
I'm kind of scared. I don't know
No,
if I
it'll be
want.
fine. It'll be fine.
All right.
You can drop it again. So you'll see here, you get a status effect. You're burdened.
Okay.
This is what would happen any time you just picked up too much crap. So yeah, you could just drop that back down.
How do I drop stuff?
D for drop.
Okay. Makes sense.
Another good command to
Oh
know
shoot,
is
what was its oh, so if I hit D and then question mark, then
yeah,
I can
you can actually hit it from this menu. Yeah.
Oops. Wrong button. Question mark and M.
Another good command to know is the capital D. Is kind of like a multi-drop, and it's basically the same as drop, but you can, if you do it real quick, you can see.
Just get rid of all this shit.
It works a little bit like a checklist. You can do by different types or different things like that and check off as many things as you want. So it's kind of like a multi-drop. Also good to know.
Cool. So I'm going to try to lockpick this thing.
Okay.
I'm forgetting what the... Is it L?
Apply for tools.
Apply, that's right.
Yeah.
Apply tools and then E.
Okay, so this is an interesting one, right? Because it's asking you for a direction. And it's not in any direction. It's on the square that you're on. The direction for that is just period. And you use that to basically refer to yourself or whatever square you happen to be on.
Oh, no.
Let's see what happens.
Woo!
There you go.
All right. So now I should look in the sky. Some new stuff.
And again, you can just press comma here to select everything. Yeah.
Really?
Apparently, you're very close to your weight encumbrance. That could be because you're lugging that statue around. So you might just use the statue.
Good idea. So D question mark and my statue is H.
Yeah.
So that was probably pretty heavy.
I think the statues are heavy, yeah.
The door opens. Whoa, the Hobbit. Oh crap.
It might be a hobbit, man.
I moved, I took one too many steps. Oh, he came out from behind me.
And he threw a rune dagger at you. Oh, but your cat.
Wow. He threw a dagger at the cat, and the cat one-shotted him.
That's right, man. You don't mess with a cat.
Jesus. A rune dagger. All right, I'm gonna take that dagger. Good job, cat. Dang.
So your cat can actually level up. Your pet levels up, and it levels up in a different way to you. You level up in a very standard RPG way where you get experience points for the things that you kill. And once you hit certain experience thresholds, you gain levels. But your pets actually level up extremely linearly. Every enemy that they kill, they basically get a little bit stronger.
Cool.
So it's actually a good idea sometimes to go ahead and let your cat kill things that are really weak or whatever.
If it's a weaker enemy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get one experience point from it, like a grid bug or something like that, you might as well let your cat kill it and take the experience.
It's a kobold here.
Kobold.
Welcome to level 2, bitch.
There you go. So you'll see your hit points have increased a little bit here. You got some power, even though it's not going to do much for you.
Wow, I can't pick up 7 darts.
You are quite encumbered. I wonder what you have. You know what it is? I think it's your banded mail. Is extremely heavy. You might just want to ditch some stuff you're not going to use here. So here's an interesting thing: is that you can always come back. And this is one of the things I really like about this game is that you can basically just like set up a stash somewhere, and you can always come back to this point in the dungeon, right? So anything that you're not going to use in the immediate future that might be heavy, you can just ditch it and then come back for it later. So I would definitely ditch your leather armor, which you're not using anymore.
And I
Um,
just picked up a cloak kind of for the hell of it.
yeah. So a
That
cloak
I
is actually
assume, is that a
is
different
actually
slot?
yeah, it actually is. It's like an
Sweet.
overshirt kind of thing. So you can wear that as well. Ooh, I just noticed that your banded mail is -1. It might actually be cursed. I wonder if you try to take that banded mail off, it might not let you. Cursed equipment cannot be taken off normally.
I wonder if it's from. Could it have taken damage from the goblin or
No, it
the
wouldn't.
gnome?
That
No.
wouldn't happen. It wouldn't go to -1. That's just a enchantment thing.
So let's drop. Um, well, I won't drop the leather armor yet because maybe I can. Maybe I won't be able to take this off. We'll see. But let's see. Should I get rid of like this rune dagger and this knife? Definitely
Those
the
probably
knife, right?
don't weigh much. Is there anything in your sack? No, I guess it's empty.
It's empty.
So
Yeah.
there's that.
The knife is kind of worthless though, right?
Yeah, you could drop those.
The newt. Where'd the newt come from?
Oh, he's right there in the doorway, man. He's the colon.
Oh, freaking colons. Kill it, kitten. Yeah. Way to go.
Oh, I dropped a corpse too. You can eat that corpse with
Fuck's
E.
sake.
You
The kit. What?
can pick up a knife.
What? Come again?
Cats can pick up items and drop them in their mouths,
Uh,
presumably.
that's interesting.
I don't think you'll
Um,
use it.
remind me, was it capital A? Yeah. So let's see what happens if we try to take off his armor.
I'm betting that it's cursed.
You are right.
Yeah. So that's fine. I mean, it's still a quality piece of equipment, even at -1. It gave you an armor class enhancement, so it's okay that you can't take it off. Sometimes you get stuck with something really crappy on if you put it on before knowing whether it's cursed or not.
Lichen. So I'm also carrying a decent amount of gold around, which is probably
Gold isn't
contributing to the
too
weight.
heavy. It's not really
No.
that heavy. I think it's really just that equipment that you have. I think the heaviest thing that you have right now, other than your armor, which you can't drop, is your leather armor, which is not really doing much for you. So I
Yeah.
would drop
So
that. You
I'll
can always come
drop
back
that.
for it.
Yay.
And you can also put on that cloak if you want.
Yes. I want to do not wield. Wear. Cool.
Didn't give you any armor class, but um,
So does
looks
that
nice.
mean it did nothing?
Uh, you know, there might be some arcane thing that it does in the background. It's
Now,
a piece of clothing on.
wasn't I armor class 5 when I first put on that armor?
Oh, let's take wait, hold on. Take a look at your inventory. Oh, okay. It's actually -2, so it actually hurt you.
God,
And I'm sure it's also cursed if it's negative.
it must be.
These
Uh,
these are good things to happen. That you're learning about the dangers of putting on equipment that you don't know anything about.
yeah,
That's
confirmed.
okay. That's okay.
Ooh, is that another kobold? Oh, a large kobold. Great.
But you're level
Ooh,
2 now. You
I
should have
should
no trouble.
throw. I should throw my daggers. I don't remember how to do that. Was it T?
It's F for fire, as long as you have them quivered, which I think you do.
Really? The lichen?
It's in front, yeah.
Oh, that was like a actual thing.
Look at that. Dude, you killed both of them with one throw.
Sweet. I was
Damn.
thinking the lichen was just like some moss on the ground.
Oh no, it's an enemy.
All right, good to know. A brass lantern. Ooh, that could come in handy if I can freaking carry it. T, a brass lantern. That being able to throw two things at once definitely nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. So yeah, I told you I would tell you about that later. So if you the another extended command is pound enhance.
Mm-hmm.
If you type that in, you can see all of your attributes here, and you'll notice that you start out as basic skill with dagger and short sword, which is this is why you can throw two at once, is because you have a basic skill with dagger.
Gotcha.
As you go along, this is basically all of these things are, if you do these things a ton, you will eventually get the option to upgrade them to a new level of proficiency. You'll get a message that says like you feel, more skilled with whatever, and then you can go into that enhance menu and actually select to improve your proficiency in that.
All right, let's go
So
down. Another lichen here. Dead.
you're getting really unlucky with corpse drops. Lichens are actually an early game enemy that you fight that's one of your main sources of food early on.
Ooh, that sounds promising. Uh-oh. This is good or bad?
I don't know. Find out.
You don't want to tell me.
We'll find out.
If it's a shop, do shops have guards? Is that
They
a
do
thing?
not. No, it's just the
Uh,
shopkeeper only.
okay.
Oh yeah,
I
wasn't there a
assume
shop on level 3 that we heard? You never
wasn't
found that.
that was that on the level or was that when that wasn't when I went down to the goblins, was it?
No, they're
Or
actually
the gnomes?
shops are not generated in that
In
branch except in a
okay.
very specific location. So I think it was level 3. So you might actually want to re-explore that because shops
Go
can be
back.
very good. And in fact, I think you actually came down to this floor without your kitten. Oh,
Whoa. Orc zombie one hit killed him.
there you go.
Nice. Leveled me up. An orc zombie. Is he gonna come back to life?
No, he already did, and you killed him.